and we can get started. So let's just put this in presentation mode and welcome you guys to the call. This is being recorded, as I say, so that to listen again, but also for anybody that can't catch on live. I know we've got a number of our guys over in Asia and in Australia where it's middle of the night now, so they'll catch up with the recording that we post in the membership site, and I'll post up in the Facebook group the links once I get that put up in a little while. But today we wanted to talk through the first part of the content that's in the September issue of the newsletter, which will be coming out to each and every one of you in the coming days. But the title today is How to Make It Rain Referrals. And Nikki and I wanted to go through what we feel are key referral strategies that you can look to implement in your business. So I best, before we go any further, I best welcome you into the call, Nikki. Great to have you on the call as always.
Yeah, great to be back for another webinar. Looking forward to sharing some of our experiences that we've done in our own fitness business when it comes to referrals. Anyone who's been in business long enough understands that client referrals are probably one of the most important things to sustain a business. When you're starting a business and you have no list and no leads, obviously you're going to have to spend a lot of money on external marketing. But once you get to a certain point, let's call it the critical point, you almost don't need to market outside of your list or your client base. And some of the tactics and strategies we're going to share on this call really helped both myself and Andrew do that. My marketing budget, just to give you a heads up, I used to have a budget of about £300 a month. I very rarely spent that once I had built my list. So it doesn't need to be too expensive, but the strategies have to be used in the right way. And hopefully on today's call, we can run you through some of how we set it up. I'm going to talk through some stories on how it worked, what didn't work as we go along. And then it's just about implementing them one at a time. As Andrew knows, I use this saying a lot, but the Bruce Lee saying that I don't fear the man that knows 10,000 kicks. I fear the man that knows one kick, but has practiced it 10,000 times. You know, it's the same with marketing. You know, it's like you've got to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, just getting better and better at it. And it's that 1, 2, or 3 things that you do can literally run your business. You know, you don't need to have to keep trying different stuff all the time. It doesn't allow you to get better. And think of it like training your clients, right? It's like if you want a client to get stronger at squatting, then you've got to continuously do squatting and get better at it. There's no point doing another exercise. It's not really going to help, right? Unless you're isolating, of course, but I'm not going. You get the point. So looking forward to looking forward to sharing some of our wisdom on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo what Nikki says. You know, there was a time when I was looking at each month I would have to do a new marketing strategy, and you start stressing then at trying to make time or find time to implement all these things. You've got enough on your plate as it is, being the technician in your business, being the marketer, being the salesperson or whatever. There's a lot of hats that we have to wear. So anything that we can do to streamline and simplify things makes it easier. And I was going to say that I was embarrassed to say that, that I only had a couple of marketing strategies that I used to implement, referrals being one of them. But really, I shouldn't say embarrassed, because it worked. It got me the leads that I needed. Made sure that we did an awesome job with working with our clients so that we retained them. But hopefully today we're going to give you a selection, and then it's picking the one which feels right for you, and then just getting out there and doing it. So basically what we're going to cover today, we're going to go through 7 different referral strategies that we can implement. We've got suggestions, some examples, and of course we'll talk through each of them as well. So we've got what I call client referral postcards, and we'll come to that in a little bit. Looking at professional networking groups, examples of them would be BNI or say Toastmasters. There are of course others, and as I say, we'll go into them. Then we'll look at strategic alliance marketing. I'll explain what that term is if you're unfamiliar with that term. A number of you will already know it, but want to be clear on that and outline the do's and don'ts there. Looking at client referral contests, these are something that I think have fallen by the wayside. They're becoming unpopular or not or underutilized really, but they can be really strong in driving a flurry of leads for your business. A similar sort of vein is a Bring a Friend Week. Then there's, of course, workshops, which were a key marketing strategy that I used to implement each month. We'll come to them at a later point of the call. And then finally, I'll explain what high impact professionals is. That's more of a direct mail approach, but it's a good strategy that you can look to implement if you've got these key business professionals in and around your community. But we're starting out with client referral postcards. And as it says on the slide, this tactic can work extremely well if you were to create a postcard with that particular client in action. I'll put in inverted commas there. Now, I've not done this on this one that we've had mocked up, but there's a number of potential possibilities you can use with postcards. And I like using a postcard as opposed to, say, a flyer, which might be traditional, because it stands out a bit more. It's not the norm. And if you were to feature that particular client, let's say, for example, we'll use Vito here as an example, being on the call. Let's say Vito is a client of mine, and we've got Nikki has taken a photo of Vito working out in our facility. We then hand him 3 to 5 postcards that he can either mail out or hand to friends or work colleagues, inviting them in to come and trial out a session with him. What happens there is it paints him or positions Vito as like a local celebrity, and we all love to have that recognition. And then, as I said, because it's slightly different and he can hand it or mail it out to the friends, then they're more open to taking the offer up because it's come from somebody they know, like, and trust. The one I've got here is, and I'll show you the back, is something that we're actually working with. I was helping Paul Bassett with setting up, and so we've mocked this up here. But before I go on to that, Nikki, have you got anything to add on client referrals using a postcard or flyer technique?
Yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea because it's so personalized, it's so unique that obviously, as long as your client's okay with them having their photo taken, because they're going to be given out to their mates, so you want to get a good shot. It's pretty simple to take photos and get these printed out at very minimal cost, right? If you think about how much it actually costs you to acquire a client in the first place, if you really work that out, you might find it could cost in the hundreds, right? So spending 10, 15, 20 pound on a postcard is a good ROI. I remember Porsche did this, and this is what Porsche did. So what Porsche did was, I just got Ash on there. Ash, you can just turn your video off so you can you hear me, Ash? Oh, he's still there. Let me just turn his video off. I was just saying, Porsche did this. So what Porsche did, they would go to an affluent area. They would actually park their car, the Porsche, in front of the person's house, take a picture, and then post the postcard and letter through the door, stating, "Look how good your new car looks on your drive." And their sales went up. Their sales went through the roof with that one strategy. So this is no different, right? If it worked for Porsche, it can work for your business. There, I'm just trying to get mute Ash. Oh, you got him there, right?
Just me,
yeah. So, but it is the personalization of doing it, And as we're going to come to later, just using a one-on-one, one client, one referral system. I guess if you think of it like a game, if all you could do was get new clients from your current clients, this would be a great strategy for you. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Andrew.
Perfect. No, it's good. And the key with this, guys, whoops, hit the wrong button, is we're showing you examples going through each of these. Now, it's this is then when we can have a chat with you to personalize it and tweak it accordingly to fit your specific needs. But these are, as I say, the tactics that have certainly worked for us in the past on that side. So that was the front of the card. And then on the back, I've just mocked it up of one potential tactic that you can particularly use. Now, in this one, this wasn't getting mailed out. It was getting handed by the business owner, the client to their friends. So on the left-hand side, it was just, and you'll get copies of this so you can see this to model it yourselves, it was just an outline and a bit of a call to action at the end. And then on the right-hand side, we've added in some quotes of social proof. To improve upon this, I would have expanded on it and maybe had headshots of the people making the quotes just to make it even more personal. But as a tool to generate interest, it's a great strategy. And as I say, I really like the postcard approach because, as it says on the slide, it's fun, different, and it makes it clear with a call to action. So that's the first one, client referral postcards. Moving on from that, we're looking at professional networking groups. And if we think about it, the most important thing that we can do to encourage success in our business is to look to consistently build a network of people who know, like, and trust us. That being, on one hand, your client base and everybody that knows you, but also on a professional basis, because these are going to be your power list. Some people call it magic 100 list, but it's going to be your sphere of influence. You know, those people who know who you are, then when they know what you're about, that they're able then to make informed referrals to you. And the order of priority I would set that would be firstly looking at groups such as BNI, Business Network International. I'll put the website on the list here. Toastmasters. Now, Toastmasters is generally more known for helping you become a better speaker, a better presenter, etc. But that's only, in my view, one part of the equation. The other part is obviously you're in and around people who are professional business people, and primarily they're going to be key referrers of business for you. So it's a good one to look at as well. Local chamber of commerce is one that gets forgotten about fairly frequently, but again, by joining these and being receiving details from them gives you the opportunity to go along, get invited to events that they put on, making sure you take your business cards, whatever, with you, chatting to people, listening to people, developing some form of relationship with these individuals, and of course adding them to your database so that you can follow up with those who resonated with you, who you feel would be somebody to build a network with. Online, there's linked. Obviously, we have LinkedIn now, which has a number of groups, but also Meetup can be a good place online initially, but the Meetups themselves are within your community. So again, this one I've put forth because it depends whereabouts you're based. Here in London, where Nikki and I are based, there's a lot of different Meetup groups. A lot of them are active and therefore a good tactic for us to try. in other areas, certainly where I'm from, the Isle of Man, there's no meetup groups, so it wouldn't be relevant there. But they're in the order of priority. Yeah, we'll be discussing professional networking groups in more detail within upcoming issues of the newsletter. But Nikki, I know you've been part of BNI as well. Do you want to give your experiences of BNI?
Yeah, Andrew, I much prefer getting out there and meeting people than the whole online marketing side of stuff. I just find it works better for me. I'm a bit old school like that. But there's a law of reciprocation when you go to networking groups, right? If you want referrals, then you have to be a referrer. Okay, so if you are going to join or use this referral kind of strategy, then go with the mindset of like, okay, how are you going to refer your network of people to people in the groups? And that law of reciprocation kicks in only then, right? If you're going to go and just expect people to refer people to you without actually giving them anything back in return, then this is going to be a waste of time. Okay, this is not going to work. Also, with networking groups, it takes a little bit of time to build up relationships. Okay, so be prepared to go for a period of time. However, if you stick with it, like we did, right, and you start building great relationships, the referrals that you get are phenomenal. You can actually just use this one tool to totally build your business. We've got clients that we coach at the moment that only use BNI, and at the start it was a bit tough because they're starting to build relationships. No one knows them. They don't know anyone else. Everyone's interested in fitness, that's for sure. So that's a positive. But to get actually people who are interested to actually taking action takes a little bit more of a little bit more work, right? What I did with BNI, I was struggling at the start, but then I just threw out a 30-day free trial for everyone in my group, and I had like half of my groups take me up on the offer, and I was like blown away. I wasn't expecting it. I was just kind of in the middle of my 1-minute speech, and I was thinking, all right, I'm just going to put it out there. When I got these guys into the studio to actually work with me, that's when I started getting the referrals. It gave me more of a chance to get to know them. Obviously, if you're going to spend an hour with a one-to-one for 2-3 times a week, you're gonna start to build that relationship a lot faster, right? And then referrals start to kick in for me a lot more. I'm a huge fan of BNI. I thought it was great. There are other networking groups out there, or you could almost create your own networking group, your own fitness networking group, right? But they do work. My biggest tip for this is give it some time. Don't expect results straight away. But if you do stick with it, then you do end up with a lot of referrals.
Oh, for sure. And certainly in BNI, it depends on how well run the chapter is that you join. But before joining, you always get the opportunity to go along and try some on your own, to try them out before you join. But the key thing with BNI, in case you're not aware, is that if you're invited to join a particular chapter, you're the only fitness professional at that chapter, and the BNI was set up to generate referrals for each and every person there. And the challenges I see with a lot of people when they join BNI, as Nikki mentioned, is that they go in trying to sell straight away. That's if you do that, you're not going to succeed. It's all about relationships, building that trust with the fellow chapter members, them getting to know what you're about. And if you can encourage them, as Nikki suggested, where they come along for a free trial, now they've experienced your services, and they can talk from experience about you to anybody that's in their network. So it's a key strategy. And I'm trying to think, there's a number of guys, and I always recommend joining some form of group because to build your power base. But one figure that stands in my mind was when I was working as a coach in Australia, one of my clients, he generated $70,000. So that's about £45,000 worth of business in about 12 to 18 months, I think it was, from memory. And that was purely through that BNI network. So for £500 investment plus meals, breakfasts that he bought while he was at BNI, then it was a significant return on investment. And that's not to mention the savings he made with investments, mortgages, and so on, because you can get good deals from the fellow people in the network as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of points I want to say on that, Andrew. That the free trial. For me, everyone should be doing a free trial, right? Because the public's perception of personal trainers, fitness experts is not what we actually are. All right, and as trainers, we know this inside out, and we know everyone trains bad, and you go to the gym and there's terrible trainers and whatever. But that's what the perception of our audience is. It's only when they get to work with you and they kind of then really understand how knowledgeable and how correct you are with training, and that's what marketing can't really show them. Only a free trial or actually working with you can show them, right? And we all know this as trainers, right? So the free trial is probably the only way we can actually do that, other than workshops, which is technically a free trial anyway, right? So if you're not doing a free trial for a 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, then having that in place up first, you'll tend to get much more people experience your services. Not everyone's going to buy, but you'll get a lot more filter through. Just wanted to say a bit on that.
No, that's perfect. And I would say the goal with this tactic would be to target at least 3 to 5 businesses that you build a rapport with. The mistake I made was I was trying to get to know everybody, but of course you can't do that. You need to invest your time intelligently. So it's targeting those who you feel that you have good success with. And I found for me, hairdressers, beauty salon owners, accountants, dentists, financial advisors, and lawyers were the key guys that I built a rapport and relationship with, and they became key drivers of leads to my business. Right, next up, following on to a degree from that is what we call strategic alliance marketing. And this, I would suggest, is something that we look at as a primary focal point. It was one of the first things that I did. And along with, organic client referrals from clients just wanting to invite their friends along, this was the key referral marketing strategy for me. I knew it was built upon the relationships I formed at BNI, and as I mentioned, with hairdressers, beauty salon owners, etc. They were in front of my target audience, particularly for the boot camps, the group training that I ran. It's a good strategy to look at. But the problems that a lot of people do with this, though, A, they don't know how to approach the business owner in the first place, or B, they go in with, hey, here's some leaflets, or here's some things for my business. We need to spin it around 180 degrees and think, what's in it for them? If we can answer that question and show that you've got their best interests at heart and that you want to promote their business and improve their bottom line, then and then obviously prove it, then you're going to be able to go on from there and show them that they're going to be more open than to wanting to do things for you. Sorry, Nikki, do you want to add your piece on this?
Yeah, this is my favorite. Strategic alliance marketing was my favorite, man. This got me the majority of my business, because my studio was in a health clinic, so it was very easy for me to build strategic alliances with the osteopaths, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, right? And you nailed it when you said, like, the problem is people don't know how to get their foot in the door with the alliances, right? How do you connect with these people? For me, it was very easy, right? I just gave them a free trial. I was specializing in corrective exercise at the time, so working with chiropractors and massage therapists or sports therapists was quite easy, because that was what they knew, right? But what they didn't know is how detailed personal trainer could be in the form of corrective exercise, right? Again, their perception of personal trainers was very different to actually where the industry is, right? So when we showed them actually what we do, they were blown away. And as soon as they're blown away, then now they've got some ammunition to tell a certain selection of their clients. I'll come back to that in a minute, that these guys might be better for you. The problem I found with a holistic therapist as strategic alliances, you have to be careful on not overlapping services, if that makes sense, right? Because sports therapists, chiropractors, obviously, like, they help people with their posture and correct pain. If you're doing the same thing, then you don't want to be taking business away from them. So you have to find a way that's going to work for all parties. So that was great. So another way I did with strategic alliance marketing is I would always take them out for lunch. Okay, so I would just suggest, look, I've got some business ideas I want to discuss. Can I take you out for lunch, right? We'd book the day and then we'd talk over lunch and I would pay for lunch. That would be, even though they would offer, I'd never let them pay, right? And that was, again, the law of reciprocation, right? It's automatic. They kind of owe you, right? So when you pay for lunch. So I would say don't be tight on that side of things. It's going to repay you masses going forward. That you are going to have some referees or alliances which don't quite work out. It did happen where I referred people over to, let's say, a chiropractor, and I got nothing back. I kept going to a point where you're thinking, okay, I'm not getting anything in return, so I'm going to find another chiropractor to refer my business to, right? Because ultimately, it comes down to business, right? So there are a couple of ways to get your foot in the door. Is one, organize a business lunch, and two, that magic free trial again, right? Once they can experience your services and they know what you're about, it's much easier for them to talk to their client base about what you do.
That's right. And as Nikki says, this is ultimately, it's a partner referral network you're looking to set up. It's got to work both ways. So if you find when reviewing that, you're referring business to another business, but you're not getting that reciprocation, then potentially they're not a good fit for you. So, there's plenty more fish in the sea. And I put hairdressers and beauty salon owners there first on my list because, I was able to, with the group training again, invite the staff in to be part of the group, 3 sessions, and then at a reduced rate, an ongoing rate, because I knew that if they were taking part, they could talk with experience about that, and then they would pop. We had to set up a little system where they would put in at point of sale when their client was paying for their hairdo or whatever. They were given a free voucher to come and have a trial session with us. So that worked incredibly well. But
one other thing, Andrew, that really worked for me. So I obviously my trainers were contractors. And I was doing semi-private, and I would pay approximately £13 per client to the trainer, but I was billing out at £35 or £40, right? So what I allowed my strategic alliances to do, like the nutritionist, the chiropractors, whatever, I said, look, if you pay the trainer direct, just the amount it costs, which was £13, you can train with that. You can train with the trainer at that cost, right? Which is a very reduced cost to you, but the trainer still got paid, and I didn't make a loss as a business. However, I was thinking long term. I have all these practitioners working with my trainers at a zero loss for me, just and it was semi-private, so I was still making some margin, but they were with us 2-3 times a week, experiencing our services, which then got us so much referrals that it was almost like free money from a business point of view. Okay, so that was a really good way that worked for me. If you've got contractors in your business as trainers, then there's no reason why you can't run that system.
Sorted. But yeah, definitely my, as you said, your favorite, and I would say my favorite as well. It was good to have that connection with these businesers.
I was wondering if we get Sue. Sue, can you hear us? You got a video going all over the place there. That's just. Right. Can you hear us, Sue? No, I don't think she can. Oh well.
Right. Next up, Yeah, I thought I jumped ahead there. Client referral contests. Now, there's a little work to be done with this particular tactic, and to be totally transparent, it's worked really well for some clients that have done this because they've got a good community. They've got a good, vibrant community in the first place. And having a contest, everybody loves a contest. Everybody wants to win. So it can work if. But again, as I say, I've seen others that have tried this because they've seen it working for others, and it's not worked because they've not got that interaction, that engagement with their clients. But as a strategy, it's a great way of generating a lot of buzz, and you can have a lot of fun around this. And the best way I've seen it is that you gift everyone who refers somebody to you, and then there's a grand prize at the end of the contest. The contest it's dependent on the time frame you want to set, but let's say that you do it for 30 days, and at the end of it, the top referrer gets a gift. And what I've seen there is like a weekend spa voucher and things like that, or a weekend away have worked particularly well. And these gifts were bought at a discount from one of the online voucher companies and gifted to somebody. That's how we'd done that. We did it internally ourselves, and we had on the wall in the studio the list of everybody that was taking part, and it was just there'd be a little tick alongside that person's name each time they made a referral. We recognized at the start of each session that those people that had made referrals and thanked them. I also, when I say gift everyone, I used to send them a little thank you card. Even if that referral didn't come to anything, they'd taken the effort to and had enough trust in us to make that referral. So I wanted to, show my appreciation in some little way with just a little handwritten thank you card, which went a long way. Now, if any of those referrals actually became paying clients, I would recognize the client for making that referral, and I went and bought them a small gift as a thank you. And generally, because I kept a list and had an idea and got to know clients, which I'm sure you all do anyway, but I knew what their hobbies and interests were, and what sort of small gift would be specific to them, rather than some generic thing. But I think the best thing is that a gift is given as recognition anyway. But that's what we've done on client referral contests. Have you tried that yourself, Nikki?
I actually never ran client referral contests, believe it or not. I did every time someone did refer to me, I made sure that I gave them 2 weeks free, or if they referred 2 clients, they had 4 weeks free. Now, here's the thing with gifting. You've got to be on top of this, because clients, they'll refer people over to you and they'll say, no, don't worry about it. You don't need to give me anything, blah, blah, blah. But you've still got to be on it and give them their referral gift. We're hot on this Lifestyle 180 as well, right? We make sure that if someone refers us, we send out a gift and we give them some free coaching. There's been companies that we've referred business over to who have said that, okay, you get this and this, and never followed up because they got busy or whatever. Now, what does that tell you, right? I then won't refer another person over to them, not because of the free gift or anything like that. It's just it's integrity, I guess. What kind of business are we dealing with? So if you are going to give free gifts away or prizes for referrals, make sure you do it, no matter what it costs you, right? Because that goes a long way in your client's eyes about the integrity of your business and of you personally.
Perfect. Okay, moving on from that, and Nikki just mentioned this actually, but one of the tactics I used was Bring a Friend Week as well. The key with this is that you don't run it too frequently, and I can talk from experience that I tried that because it worked so incredibly well the first time round that I wanted to use it again. But this sort of tactic, you can only, I would suggest running it maybe once or perhaps twice a year maximum, because people just get, oh God, you want me to drag somebody else along? And we need to be able to give a good reason why they should refer friends or family members. And if you do that in a structured fashion, that showcases the fact that your facility, be it gym, studio, or a park, if you're doing outdoor boot camps, for example, that it's a fun and friendly place that they want to be. It's a great community to be part of, and that's, as Nikki says, giving somebody a free session, a free week, or whatever time frame you determine is most appropriate to you. Get somebody to experience your services, and that's the hardest thing for us to do as business owners. If they can experience what we've got to offer, it gives us that chance to start the relationship building process, and you can show your position as the local expert, that you know what you're talking about, and you can inspire them and then point them in the right direction, that, hey, you can achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve in working with us.
I like the Bring a Friend Week. I had some issues, as you did, with running it too frequently. So I had the way my group program was structured. We had like introductory week 1 of the month, and then it would get a little bit harder in week 2, a little harder in week 3, and super hard in week 4. So week 1 we ran this Bring a Friend Week because we knew this is where we're going to do most of our coaching, most of our teaching, more movement training. It wasn't really designed to like totally thrash the client as week 4 was. So we said, look, every start of every month we had Bring a Friend Week in the group program, and I did have some of the same problems as you touched on, about like people only know so many people that want to come in, right? So you can't always ask them to bring a friend in, but it did work, right? And then I had I almost had, because I had the 2-week free trial running all the time. I didn't really run the Bring a Friend Week in my one-to-one or semi-private type model, but it works really well, and it gives you that exposure. Everything, the more exposure of your product you can get to people, the quicker your product's going to grow. And there's nothing better than a free week or free 2 weeks, in my opinion.
For sure, and you're going to get organic referrals. You're going to have, it's not quite the 80-20, but using that principle, 80% of your referrals will come from 20% of your client base, just through them organically. But I like to run this periodically, and I would suggest, as I say, once, maximum twice a year. And the approach that I used to take was to announce the special week, and I would encourage clients and members to invite their friends, family, and work colleagues to join them for the workouts that week. And the reason I did this, in addition to the organic leads I was getting, was that just to encourage those and remind those that weren't referring that, we were a referral-based business, and we rewarded people for making those referrals. It gave the friends or family members the opportunity to experience what we had to offer. And then at the end of the week, we invited them to continue training with us. And because, as we've outlined, they've experienced what you've got to offer, there was a good percentage of them came on board because their friends or their family members were already there. So they already knew your price. So that was taken out of the equation. And they, generally, if a friend's doing it, they don't want to miss out. They want to take part too. Okay, next up is workshop marketing system. Now, I really like this because it positions you as the local expert. There's not too many people who do this consistently. And no matter what tactic we look at here, the key is consistency. So picking, I would suggest one of them from the outset, giving it a go, giving it time. As Nikki mentioned earlier with BNI, a lot of the time people were too quick to think, oh, this doesn't work for me. They haven't given it the time it deserves. So it's the same with each of these. But I loved, and I've put workshop here, but I also include, I call it speaking gigs, getting in front of a group of people that they've invested their time to come and listen to me, or take part in a work, maybe it's a skills workshop. But the goal here is to utilize your existing client base, also your network of strategic alliances and those within any professional business networks you've got, to get people to attend the gig that you put on. Now, once I realized the true power of this, I made it a point, and I had a virtual assistant helping me by this stage, to go and book at least, I call it, one gig a month. Never going to be a rock superstar or anything, but this to me was my gig. So I was going on tour, albeit around the island where I was based, or when I was in Perth in Australia. But each time I ran these, I generated leads, but more importantly, clients from it. And for those that have known me for a while, you may have heard the story before, but I remember the first gig I did, there was 6 women turned up to it. Out of those 6, it was a half-hour talk, 10 or 15 minutes Q&A. And at the end of it, 4 of them wanted more information. 3 of them actually became clients. And of those 3, each of them were clients for certainly 2 years, even longer. So a significant return on investment. But still to this day, I think they signed up because they felt sorry for me, because there was not a hope in hell that they could hear what I was saying, because the papers in my hands were shaking that much. So through nerves. But, I was well outside of my comfort zone, but I got out there, did it, because I know that we all fear speaking in public. But it's a key strategy. And if you can take that step, as I did, and then you get a positive result from it, well, hopefully that gives you the inspiration to move on and to do more and more of these. Because, as I say, not enough of us are doing this. And rather than following the herd, let's look at doing the things that other people aren't doing, and you'll get the benefits from it.
So I like this as well, Andrew. There's a couple of things that I did to help generate clients. Although this is technically not referrals, I'm just going to run you through the 3 things I did. So as Andrew did, I did do some public speaking. And what I found with public speaking is I had about 12, 13 people in the room. It was only a small chat, maybe 30 minutes. But I was trying to prep them. So I would have some worksheets ready about, okay, so tell me a little about your goals, what worked, what didn't, and try to touch into the pain and pleasure. So tell me, write down what you would feel like if you were at the level of fitness or had the body shape that you dream about, right? And these guys would be writing this down as I'll be talking. So I'm prepping their mind. And at the end of the talk, I'd say there's a little check sheet. Do you feel like you need some help in reaching your goal? And almost every single one of them would say yes, right? And I would get their name and email at the bottom, and they would hand the sheets in at the end of the workshop, and that would give me all the tools I needed to follow up with them on the phone and get them in for, again, the magic free trial, which then led to them converting into a paying client. I'd probably have about 40-50% conversion rate from that system, right? Public speaking, it does take a little bit of practice. It's not always the easiest thing to do. So what was easier was actually just delivering a flatten your abs workshop. So this was another thing I did. I just advertised to my email list that, hey, I'm running this free workshop, how to get better abs. And all I did was teach the participants 6 basic abdominal exercises, right? And they were like planks, side planks, if I can remember. Nothing too advanced, but for the client, for the person who was doing it, this was all new, right? All they've ever done in their life is sit-ups, holding their head in their hands kind of thing, right? Because we do these exercises every day, it just becomes the norm to us. But to them, it was like, wow, I'm actually feeling my abs, right? Or I'm doing a plank and my back's not hurting because I've managed to do it in the right way. I would give them the sheet. I would say, oh, here are the 6 exercises, go away and do these for 2 weeks, and I'll follow up with you, right? I'd follow up in 2 weeks with a phone call, say, hey, how'd you get on with your ab exercises? And the response was so predictable. The response was, I never did it. And that again was my lead in to say, look, there's a reason why you're not doing. You do need some accountability. Do you want to come and try a 2-week free trial with us here at Body Fitness Personal Training? And again, I would get about 50% closed. Now, give or take, my packages were like anywhere from like $199 to $299 a month on semi-private. That adds to a lot of revenue, right, for such a simple system. And the good thing about the abdominal workshop is you're not going to have any nerves like public speaking, because you do this every day anyway. All you've got to do is just get people in there. Okay. And it's kind of a common theme from this webinar. The more exposure you get, the bigger your businesses are going to grow, right? So do you want to spend money on advertising, or do you just want to use your time to advertise where you can actually show off your expertise? For me, I would give up that time all day long, right? So I'd like to get your feedback at the end of this webinar for you guys on the call, and kind of what do you think you could do to use this strategy if you are going to use it for your own business?
For sure. And at the end of the day with this, as it says on here, the goal is to, utilize clients, strategic alliance partners and professional networks to drive registration to the event, the workshop or the speaking gig you do. The time you spend with them, you're going to build an initial level of trust. And then at the end of it, you're able to extend an offer to them, which ultimately then, if you've done it right, you're going to generate, well, certainly you generate leads, but you should generate additional revenues for your business too.
Oh, absolutely. You'll absolutely generate new clients, right? As long as you've got your sales system in place, which is a webinar for a different day.
Yeah, for sure. Right. The final one of the 7 is what we call a high impact professional letter. The term I always remember was the HIP letter, HIP. This is a direct mail style of marketing, and the goal, as it says on the slide, is to identify influential leaders in your area who you would like to have as clients. So rather than them coming to you, through the direct mail approach, you're going to them to pitch yourself to them. Now, some of us are lucky, or some of you guys, and we've got clients who are lucky enough to have famous clients. And in doing so, that can generate enough business from that connection. Without naming names, I've not asked permission. But you'll see within our group, guys that are training, famous people. Now, everybody loves celebs. They'll even go searching, particularly if a celebrity's achieved, a great body transformation. They start searching for terms like insert a celebrity name here, personal trainer, and then that's how they can find you, because they'll start following you, and you're able to build some form of engagement with them as they jump onto your Facebook page. Ultimately, they see a blog post where they fill out an online form and are added to your email list, and you can start emailing them to build that relationship with them, make a particular offer, and ultimately, hopefully, get them as a client. Most of us don't have the opportunity to work with celebs or people in the public eye, but everybody has, and as I put in inverted commas here, celebrities in their area. And they might be the high profile lawyers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, or whatever in and around whatever particular town or area you're based. These people are known. And if I think back, personal story, when I was at home on the Isle of Man, I actually pitched to him and was able to get he was the highest profile lawyer on the island, highly skilled, but highly stressed position he was in. He had a significant law practice. He would preside over, the highest profile cases, would be out on business lunches and had an ever expanding waistline, and was having the obvious issues with that. But we're working with him, building a rapport with him and helping him achieve a good level of success. He was then promoting my services. He wanted my cards, which he handed out to his associates, and in doing so, they became much more confident because they liked their new appearance. So their confidence came through when they were doing their cases, and then people wanted to know what the transformation was. How had they become a lot more successful in their business? And again, it all came round, and more referrals were made. So we've got an actual draft of a letter that we've used, well, certainly I've used, which we can look at discussing in detail for anybody that's interested. But it's a good concept to follow by picking out those people that you would like to have as clients, and then looking at putting the relevant strategy in place to help get them on board as a client. And how I did that was generally, I first identified those, as I said, who I wanted. I did some research, got their contact details, and then extended an offer again for them to come in to try us free of charge. That time frame, be it a week, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever you feel is relevant to you. I was able to build that rapport with them, and then at the end of it, I was able to get them in at my regular rates, and then in turn they were able to endorse me to people within their network, and as I mentioned with the lawyer, have their associates become clients as well. So ultimately then I built up a little niche. I was known as the lawyer's personal trainer, and I had 11, 12 lawyers as PT clients, which again, for the income levels they were on, price was never an option for them. So it was a nice recurring revenue and good people to be working with. Have you tried this, Nikki, yourself?
No, actually, I didn't try that one. So this is new to me.
Perfect. Well, hey, as I say, guys, it's slightly different. It's going out there first as opposed to generating the referral out the gate. But as I say, it's a good little strategy. And you'll notice a common theme with each of these. They're all very low cost / perhaps no cost strategies to implement. We're not saying, right, this is going to cost you significant periods of cash. BNI is something there is an investment to make as part of the membership, but the rest of them it's a time investment, but there has to be a trade-off. If there's no monetary transfer, then there's obviously a time investment to make. Right, the additional one, or bonus, I guess, that we've got here is our one client, one referral game. And this is one of Nikki, so I'm going to let you, Nikki, if you don't mind, go through this.
Yeah, sure. Cheers for that, Andrew. So this is something that I've made a point of doing because I just said to myself, look, it's almost like network marketing, right? If I could get one referral off every new client, I would never run out of clients. I would always grow my business, right? I didn't really know how to market then. And this is why I use this. What I didn't know how to do is to talk to people and explain training and the benefits of it and how their family and friends could get involved. I was really good at that, right? So I thought, okay, why don't I just use that to try and build my business? And that's pretty much what I did a lot of the time, right? Other than try and spend some money to build my list. So here's how you run this, right? If you write down every single client in your business, okay, and think, the question you've got to ask yourself is, what do you need to do for that client for them to refer someone to you, right? Now think about this, right? What do you need to do for that client to refer you someone? Okay. And the first thing that comes to mind is you have to service them like they were paying double or triple their fee. All right. So as soon as I did not go and just ask for the referral because they were clients of mine, right? That would have been silly, right? I was thinking, okay, how can I service this client so well that when I do drop the bomb and ask for a referral, it'd be almost impossible for them to say no. All right, a couple of things happened, right? My service went through the roof, okay? Because, and I couldn't do this with all clients all the time. So I just pick a selection of clients and I would make sure they got extra emails, extra phone calls, extra text messages, made sure they had birthday cards, made sure I knew when their kid's birthday was, all their anniversary, all these little things, as well as the basics like being on time, making sure their programs are done, make sure you service them well in the exercise session, all the basic things. But I serviced them so well that like when it came down to it, I didn't really even need to ask them for a referral. They started throwing them at me, and that was just brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So what I've said in the slide here is you've got to set them up first, right? Set them up that it's almost impossible for them not to refer someone to you, right? Now, the only way to do this is you have to service them way above what they're paying. So if you're charging like £5, £10 a session, then imagine they were paying £30 a session, for that same service, right? How would they expect to be serviced at that cost? If you're charging like $500 a month for, let's say, personal training, then if they were paying $1,500 a month for that same service, how would you service them? And the thing is with that, you'll get used to the bigger numbers and you almost believe you're worth that much as well, right? This worked really well for me. I still do that today within this business. Every client could or should possibly refer you someone, but only if you can really service them, right? Do any of you guys on the call kind of use this system or have tried this? Just raise your hands if you have on the chat. It'd be interesting to see if any of you do that, right? If you don't, then get on it, try it, right? It's amazing, it's free. Make it a game, all right? Make it a game so it's fun. And then get to work and you'll be amazed at how this can generate referrals for you, right? Because your clients love you already, right? That's why they stay with you in the first place. But we just need to step up the service a little bit more than you're currently doing. No matter how good your service is right now, it could always be better.
For sure. And I think one of the takeaway points from today's call is remembering I think it's the EAR principle, EAR. We have to earn that referral first of all. We've got to be definitely. The expectation is that we're good at what we do. If we're not, then there's an issue. We're not going to get referrals, so we need to upskill our services. Then once you've earned it, where we drop the ball a lot of the time is asking for that referral, and hopefully we've given you some different strategies here to try, and I would suggest picking one of them. You'll have the slide deck when I upload it, so you can have a look. Pick one and let us know which one you're going to start with in the group, and we can assist you then with making sure that you get that nailed. Then if and when you've got more time, you can certainly add one or more and try different ones, but always pick one. But we have to ask. And then, as I said earlier, reward. That's the R of the EAR. Reward those people for making those referrals, because that's a significant amount of trust that they're putting in you, that they trust you enough to know that you're not looking to just sell somebody into your services just to make more money. You truly believe in them, and you want to help those individuals achieve what they're looking to achieve. Because if we put ourselves in our clients' shoes for a sec, they don't want to set their friend up to be sold to. You think of network marketing, for example. You join a network marketing group, and next minute, one of their strategies is they want you to make a list of all your friends, family members, and then sell them into buying something from you or joining you in that networking group. That's the last thing that we want to do here. It's we don't want to make the referral about getting you business, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Rather than that, look at it of how can you get something of value into that person's hands? As Nikki said, a great way of doing that is give them the free trial. Have them come along to your workshop so that they get something of value. And then in return, through that law of reciprocation, they are almost obliged to want to give something back to you in some way. And that generally is, becoming a client in some shape, form or fashion. But being good at what you do has to be the foundation to begin with. And just keeping top of mind with them is important as well. So we need to be consistent. And when you've got somebody on your list, obviously respect them and don't just try and pitch and send emails out with another sales pitch. We have to continue giving value. But if we're consistent and we're educating, entertaining, informing those people, then that rapport is built. And then when we do come round to ask for their assistance, and in this instance, do they know somebody who would benefit from learning more about us and working with us, then you've got much more of a chance to get that referral from them. Right. Is there anything else you wish to add on that, Nikki?
No, I would just say this, right at the start of the call, we talked about resources and time and what you can actually do. There's a lot of information on this webinar. Don't think you have to do all 7 plus the bonus. It's impossible to do that, right? You just need to select one, right? Select one referral strategy and implement that. That's going to take 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks to actually implement for it to work, right? Don't expect to implement it in like a short period of time. It never works like that. It's consistency done over a period of time. We're still technicians, right? We still got to do our job, right? So none of us are full-time marketeers. That's something that we need to remember. So we've got to think, okay, what can we actually do to get the biggest ROI on time? Okay, what's the best thing we can do to get the best ROI on time when it comes to a referral or any other type of marketing? That's really what I would like to finish off with, Andrew, is just making sure that you don't feel too overwhelmed. There's always going to be more information out there than you can actually handle or implement into your business. You don't need all of it. You only need to use, I'd say, 5% of it.
Oh, for sure. And look, as I said, guys, this has been recorded. Thanks for your time on the call. I'm going to download it and then upload it into the membership site and put the link in the Facebook group. But then within there, look, go through it again if needs be, and I recommend you do, because as Nikki says, we've gone through a lot of content here. Pick one of them to start with. Let us know which one you're gonna work with, and any questions. Let's use the power of the group to help support one another. Really nail the referral strategy game, because this can be all that you need within your business. If you've got a constant supply of referrals, it's the best type of lead to have. They're sold. They already know everything about your business through the person that's referred them. So, you're not having to sell them in. It's almost just finding out and guiding them to the right service that you offer that's right for them. It's a great strategy. So I implore you to look and pick one and let us know so that we can help support you get this up and running in your business ASAP. Okay, that's us. We'll call it a wrap. Slightly ran over, but it was a lot to get through on that. So thanks very much for your time. Any questions, as I say, ping us in the group, and we'll look to help you. But on that note, have a great day, and we'll speak to you again, same time, same place next week.
See you next week, people. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.